All right, so look at this. Piles of books and articles. Looks like we are going deep on Albert Einstein.
Yeah, somebody's been doing their homework.
Well, someone's got to do it. But seriously, folks, this is one of those figures where you could spend a lifetime and still only scratch the surface. So today, think of it less as a biography and more like hitting the highlights reel, you know?
Right, the moments that really made Einstein, Einstein.
Exactly. And I think for a lot of us, that starts and ends with, like, you must see Beirut, right?
Mhm.
But even getting to that point, the guy almost didn't become a physicist.
Now, that is an interesting thought, isn't it?
It is. Makes
Yeah.
you wonder what kind of world we'd be in. So maybe we start back before all the fame, like, what was young Albert like?
Well, this wasn't just some kid who aced tests, though I'm sure he did that too. What stands out is that he was almost self-taught in a way.
Self-taught. How so?
Like, beyond regular school, he was diving into math and physics textbooks, stuff way ahead of his age.
Hold on. Most kids are trying to get out of math class, not go looking for more.
Right. But there's this story. He's like 12 years old, gets a geometry book, and instead of finding it boring, he's hooked, calling it his, quote, holy little geometry book.
So even back then, this wasn't just about being smart. It was a love for the subject.
Exactly. And that fascination with how things work, it's the foundation for everything he did later.
Okay, so fast forward a bit. He's working at the patent office, which, doesn't exactly scream scientific revolution.
Well, I'm sure there was a lot of paperwork, but you have to remember, this is Einstein we're talking about.
That's right. This is where special relativity comes in, and this is while he's got a day job.
Spare time, basically he's reshaping how we understand the entire universe.
It's kind of mind-blowing, right? Like, what was it about special relativity that made it such a big deal?
For centuries, people, even brilliant scientists, they assumed time and space were these fixed, absolute things.
Like a minute is a minute no matter what, right?
Exactly. But Einstein comes along and says, no, it's relative, meaning your experience of time, of space, it changes depending on how you're moving.
Wait, so like, time isn't the same for everyone?
That's the gist of it. Think of it like this. Imagine a clock on a spaceship going super fast near the speed of light.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Now, for us, watching from Earth, that clock would seem to be running slower than our clocks here.
Whoa, that messes with your head a bit.
It's called time dilation, and it's just one of the wild implications of what Einstein figured out.
And of course, we can't talk about this without mentioning the famous Yin Shi-hong.
Right. Probably the most famous equation in history, at least up there.
But even I know there's more to it than just that, so what's the bigger picture?
It's not just the equation, it's about the relationship between energy and mass, how they're connected in ways nobody realized before.
All right, so already he's shaken up physics once, but then he doesn't stop there.
Nope, not even close.
Because just a few years later, it's general relativity, and this isn't some minor tweak. This is rethinking gravity itself.
Totally different way of looking at it. Before, it was this force acting across distances, thanks to Newton.
Right. Basic gravity we all learned.
But Einstein says, no, think of it more like a bowling ball on a trampoline.
Okay, I'm visualizing. The ball makes a dip, right?
That dip, that's gravity. Massive objects warp the fabric of space and time around them. That's how he explained it.
So the more massive something is, the bigger the dent it makes. And that's what pulls things towards it.
Exactly. And one of the craziest outcomes of this idea is the prediction of black holes.
Right, because everyone's heard of black holes, but
Yeah.
how do we get from warp space to something that, like, swallows light?
Well, if you get enough mass packed super tightly, that warp becomes so extreme, so steep, that nothing escapes, not even light.
It's like falling into a cosmic drain. Nothing comes back out.
Pretty much. And this wasn't just theory. Over time, astronomers found evidence proving Einstein right once again.
It's kind of amazing, He could have just stuck to all that, been a lab genius, but he didn't.
Oh, Einstein was never one to shy away from speaking his mind.
He was outspoken about peace, civil rights, even a Jewish homeland, things that weren't always popular at the time.
And he had this famous quote, "The pursuit of truth and beauty is a sphere of activity in which we are permitted to remain children all our lives."
So not just brains, but a real heart in there, too.
Absolutely. He saw the connection between knowledge and making the world better.
And yet, even with all that, he kept searching for something else, right? This unified field theory.
Yeah, his big dream, to tie together all the fundamental forces of nature into one elegant theory.
And that's still something physicists are working on today, isn't it?
It's one of the biggest unsolved mysteries, and some say it might be impossible, but who knows?
It makes you wonder, was Einstein on the right track, or was he chasing something that can't be caught?
Tough to say. Maybe someday we'll have the answer. Maybe it'll take another Einstein to figure it out.
It's kind of humbling. Even a mind like his had unfinished business. Makes you think, what could we discover if we keep pushing those boundaries?
That's the legacy, right? It's not just the answers, it's about never losing that curiosity, that drive to understand.
Well said. From this kid teaching himself advanced stuff to becoming a global icon, redefining how we see the universe. It's an incredible story.
And it shows that maybe genius isn't just about being the smartest, but about never stopping asking why.
And who knows, maybe out there, someone listening right now will be the one to pick up where Einstein left off. That's the exciting part.
Now, wouldn't that be something?
It would indeed. And folks, that's a wrap on our deep dive into Albert Einstein. But like we said, there's always more to explore, so keep those minds curious, and we'll see you next time.
Until then.